for a change?
I am talking to you.
Then get ready to explore the quantum possibilities. It's time to transform that outdated paradigm into something universal and new. Time to uncover the truth hidden beneath the veil of lies. A time to think outside the box as we link to a higher consciousness. Welcome to the awakening. And now the hosts of Broadcast Team Alpha, Nori Love and Augie Nost.
Hello, sparkling starbeams. How are you? It's Tuesday night. Yay! You guys know I'm so happy on Tuesday night because we get to hang out with you. And we have I'm so excited about our guest tonight. She and I met on a panel on Facebook, held by Susan Bradley Bortfield, an esteemed coach of the coaches, on Awakening to a New World is the name of the panel. And she hosts a bunch of coaches and healer types to talk about what's going on and looking beyond the pandemic. Anyway, our guest, Carolyn Mcgee, was on that panel with me, and her energy was just like, I can't even tell you. It reached out and grabbed me. And everything that she said during the panel just made me feel like I just have to talk to this person some more. So let me tell you a little bit about Carolyn Mcgee. She's a master intuitive teacher. She's a coach and a healer. And in her previous life, she was actually an engineer, which I want to find out about. Carolyn is known as the angel intuition expert. She specializes in amplifying your intuitive superpower to listen to and to trust and to follow your soul's path, to live the most joyful and healthy, connected and abundant and purposeful life. I mean, when we listen to our intuition, that really, really does happen. She's a pro at her step-by-step process, and the process is called the soul Clairaudience. I'm so excited I can't even speak. My tongue keeps getting in front of my eye teeth and I can't see. So her process is called the soul Clairaudience system, and it connects you to your divine purpose. It removes the blocks, because we all have those blocks in the beginning that get in, well, even, midway through our process, that get in the way, and they prevent us from implementing the divine guidance that's available to us. And it's through that divine guidance that we get the results that we want in every area of our life. Carolyn has co-authored 8 best-selling books. She's a popular TV co-host, and she's a sought-after speaker and blogger. She's taught thousands of professionals, corporate entrepreneurial women to trust themselves and their divine intuition so they can show up in full power in business and in life. So I'm so excited. Hi, Carolyn. Welcome. Hi, Augie.
Hello. Welcome,
Hello.
Carolyn.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you, Augie, and to connect with your energy again, Nori.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's so interesting because now I don't know if it's true. It was my intuition. When we were on the call, I picked up my dog, Pixie, and I kind of glanced over at you and I thought, did Carolyn just get something? Because I did in that moment. And I think, it had a little bit to do with your energy and me loving your energy. I had an intuition that something was going to happen to Pixie. Lo and behold, right, a week later, she ended up doing some crazy acrobats trying to jump on the porch after a squirrel and hurt herself. And I know that you are a specialist with animal intuition, and we're going to talk about that later. But, I really felt like because I was connecting with you during that panel, that you actually heightened my intuition, and I made that connection with Pixie. So I don't know. Did you get anything, or am I just imagining things?
I didn't get that specifically, but I will say that I am a beacon for animals. Whether I am, it doesn't matter what kind of a call I'm on. If they hear my energy or feel my energy, hear my voice, they are right there. And, people will be on Zoom calls and their animals are like climbing up their chairs.
That's what happened.
On their feet.
That's what happened.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I tend to kind of shield my energy because I don't want to be invasive.
I know
How that is when you're an intuitive or a psychic.
Absolutely.
So, I tend not to dip in unless I have been given permission. But it's magnetic. It's so fun.
It is, because Pixie showed up, and she is a law of attraction dog. So she shows up only where the good energy is. And when she came and tried to climb up on my lap, I thought, okay, this is something. So I would love to know a little bit about you before we get into all of the amazing things that you do. So how did you make the transition from engineer to doing this amazing work that you're doing? How did that happen for you?
Well, before I answer that, I want to go back a little bit and tell you kind of how I ended up being an engineer. And, I've always been good at math and science, but I wanted to help people. So my original goal was to be like a social worker. Actually, originally I wanted to be a doctor, but I'm highly phobic of blood. So that was that was not happening.
That won't work,
No, it definitely does not work. So, the next thing was like a social worker. And, it was... there was really no money in it, and it wasn't highly prestigious. So, I was encouraged to go into some place where I knew I could excel, and math and science was it. So, I went to an engineering school, and I was really good at it, and I ended up working in high tech manufacturing for probably 20 years. Wow. Again, very good at it, but it didn't feed my soul. And I realized that all of these people, my office was the stopping point. I was becoming the counselor for the office and for the company just because of my energy. And I didn't really understand what I was doing. And after I was laid off, I worked for really small companies. I loved the energy of startup companies, but, they're not stable often.
Right.
Yeah. So in 2006, I lost my job for the fourth time and just decided I wanted to take control of my own destiny. And I started a dog walking company. And because I had a dog and, I knew that it was a needed service. And as I was out walking my dog on a regular basis and then walking other clients' dogs, I realized that I was conversing with them. So that was my big step into this is reality. I'm not making up the conversations. I'm actually translating their energy. And then from there, it was, stepping into Reiki and angel communication. And I am a lifelong learner. I absolutely adore learning things. So it was just filling myself up with remembering. That's what I always tell my clients. It's not like you're learning how to do something. We all have the ability. We're just remembering how divinely connected we are.
I love that. That's so true, too. It is true. And I think more, so I'm going to get a little woo-woo. So more as the energies are accelerating and we're going along into what we're going through, I think people are remembering that they can remember. The veil is being lifted, so to speak. I love what you said about angels. I'm trying to pull it up because this really, really just, sealed the deal on why I like you so much. You say that angels are the energy closest to God. They're the aspect of ourselves that reach out to God for guidance and information. They are our highest self reaching out to connect to the divine wisdom. I personally love this because you include God. I always, I was always a little standoffish when God was not involved with spiritual things like angels. So tell us about your journey, into the angelic realms.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, we were the Christmas, Easter Catholics.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
It's reality. And, but I loved being in the church because I loved the spirituality piece of it. And I was fascinated by the angel stories in the Bible, and, the statues of the angels, and the fact that they were messengers, because, communication is like a core thing for me. It's such an important part of who I am. And then, so I started collecting angel statues and just observing, but not really understanding. And then after I reconnected with the animal energy, a very good friend of mine said, I think it was a meetup or something of, they're doing an angel healing circle. I'm like, that's really interesting. I have no idea what that means, but I'm going to take it as I should go. And I did. And I just fell in love with the people that I met and started taking classes with them. And it's like I found my spiritual home, my spiritual family. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so you got there by listening to your intuition.
I got there by listening to my intuition. And sometimes our intuition does speak through other people.
Interesting. How do you know when the other person is speaking your intuition? That's good.
Yeah. So, clairaudience is when we hear something and, it could come through as another person speaking about something. It could come through as, hearing a song lyric. It could come through as literally the voice that you hear outside of you. And I find that when I hear things sometimes multiple times from, different friends, or perhaps I hear something on the radio and then a friend mentions something. Right. There's that connection, and there's that reinforcement of, please pay attention to this. It's really important.
This concept about angels is so fascinating. And the thing about it is that we are never alone, even if we don't see it. Mm-hmm. How do we maybe just, if we feel like we really need to make the connection with them, how do we do that?
That is a great question. One of my core beliefs, and it's been confirmed for me many, many times, is that when we pray, we are asking for help, whether we pray to whatever divine force we believe in. That is the act of asking. Now, when we meditate, whether it's, through yoga or through, mudras or whatever or just sitting in silence, that is the act of receiving. We're opening ourselves up to something that is bigger than ourselves. And that's how we connect with the angels. It's the same concept. So you ask for help. And then you allow your senses to open up and to be still. And you allow your mind. We all, like I said, I'm an engineer. We all have these brilliant minds, and, they like to analyze things. They like to figure things out. So by being in that open stillness, then we start to have a different level of awareness of what's around us. And then we see things different. We hear things different. We start to use, our bodies as a sensor, and we can understand a different dimension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and imagine, having been an engineer, there's probably a few nuts and bolts left in your mind that needs to understand things, I would imagine.
Oh, there's more than a few.
Yeah, then angels and also guides. Sometimes I get those confused. Guides are probably the ones that kind of hang around all the time, but maybe angels we have to ask, or are they hanging around all the time too, maybe?
Angelic energy, there's different levels of angelic energy. We have our own personal guardian angels who are around us all the time. And then, there's the angel level, and then there's the archangel level, and there's other levels in between. But just to keep it simple, the archangel level, they're the ones that are closest to God. So, and they all have like a slight twist or flavor, if that makes sense, to their energy. For example, Archangel Michael, who shows up as Saint Michael in a lot of scripture, whether it's the Old Testament or the Torah, he is considered to be the right hand of God, and his energy is that of protection. His energy is that of cutting away what no longer serves you. And so if you are looking for something specific around protection, he's also known as the angel for our police force, the fire department, soldiers, because he embodies that energy of protection.
Mm-hmm.
So can I tell you an experience that I had with Michael?
Yes.
So I worked for hospice on the weekend. I worked Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and I worked 12-hour shifts. And I would go to all of the hospitals in the area in North Carolina, Duke, UNC, all of them. And I was coming home from a particularly long day. It was nighttime, and I'm in my little Nissan Juke, right? So it's a little car, and I was talking on the phone. I'm going to tell the truth. I was talking on the phone, and I didn't see anybody coming. So I began to cross the intersection, and then I looked to my left, and I saw this Hummer barreling toward the middle of my car. And I don't know how it happened, but I closed my eyes, bracing myself for the impact. I felt a huge bump, and my car was actually moved backward, and the Hummer only hit my front bumper. And I knew that it was Michael. I just 100% knew it was Michael.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. That sounds like him, right?
It totally sounds like him.
Yeah.
And one of the beauties about the energy of angels and humans is, we have free will. So, asking for help, and, I usually say, I'm willing to help or accept help in any way you want to give it to me. So it's kind of like a global, you have the ability to help me, rather than specifically asking.
Right.
Yeah, but they won't interfere unless it's not our time.
Right. Well, I have to tell you, Carolyn, my life changed. I mean, my life changed about 180 when I hosted the Archangels for a week. And at first I thought, oh, this is cute. My friend said, you want to host the Archangels? They're leaving my house on this day, and then they'll come to you. And there were things that you had to do. You had to clean your house. You had to buy some flowers. You had to buy one white flower. So there were some things that you had to do because you had company coming. And at the certain time, you open the door and you welcome them in. And I'm waiting for the time to come. And I'm thinking, you are out of your mind, Nori. You are really a little cray-cray here. But I went through with it. I went to the door. I opened the door thinking, okay, I'm just going to, run the script. Welcome, Archangel. But when I opened the door, I felt something. I felt something that gave me chills from head to toe. Mm-hmm. And I welcomed them much more reverently after that. And, things in my apartment would shift. Sometimes I felt like they were playing with me. Sometimes I felt like they were showing me things, and I would receive like a vision, but I would receive it in a block of pictures. I don't know how to explain it except that way. And ever since then, my life has continued to change. And Carolyn, these white feathers show up in my house all the time. And I know that that's them.
Absolutely is. And the traveling archangels are so powerful. And
really? So you know about them?
Oh, yeah.
I've
hosted them probably before. So it's the four major archangels. It's Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Gabriel. And, the beautiful thing about angel energy in general, and specifically the archangels, is it's infinite, just like God is infinite.
Yes.
So they can be with multiple people at the same time. And, the energy that they just come in and they uplift and they bring things to your attention. So it's not always, fun and games. Sometimes sometimes it's, okay, you need to stop doing this, or, things will get broken because it's not the right energy to have in your home anymore. But it's going into it with that openness and curiosity about how can I uplift my energy and how can I expand and learn.
Yes. So my friend that asked me if I wanted to host them, I talked to her several times a week before she asked me that. And she was telling me that she was hosting the angels, and she kept bumping her head. She kept bumping her head that week. And she said, I finally got it. I finally got that they were trying to give me a message, and I was so thick-headed that I wasn't getting it. And after she said that and began to open to the message, she stopped bumping her head.
Yeah. Yeah. And, their acknowledgement and gratitude are, two big things in general with any, type of, even humans, right? Like we all like to be acknowledged that somebody has heard us or received us. And, gratitude is such a high vibration. And any of the angel messages that come through to us, the more we acknowledge them, the more we express gratitude for them, the easier and quicker that they are going to come.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I got a comment here that you said that sometimes we have to ask for protection. I got this thing that every time I get in the car, I have this little 20-second ritual that I go through in my mind where I ask for protection and I visualize myself in the bright white light. And I even did that for the last few years. I was in the cockpit flying airplanes. I did that, and it really, I claim it that it really made a difference for me.
Mm-hmm. It does make a difference, and it's because we have free will, they're not going to intercede, like I said, unless it's a life or death situation, probably like you had, Nori, where, it wasn't your time and they're going to protect you because of that.
Thank God.
Yes, absolutely. Thank God.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, because it's an extension of God's energy.
I'm sorry, please continue.
I was going to say it's an extension of God's energy manifesting through these angels that God created to act as a bridge for us. They're all messengers.
I love it. I love it. Wouldn't it be amazing if every pilot did what Augie did? Augie, you get points in my book for doing that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll say it again.
No, you don't get points twice.
All right.
Yeah, it's so powerful, and you can ask for anything. There's nothing too big or too small to ask for support with. I always ask, okay, if I'm going to a networking event or something, I will say, what do I need to wear? What is going to serve me the best? What is going to help the people who need to see me in a certain way and who, maybe need to look at things a little bit differently. And I have a real quick story about that. I was teaching a class, and my angel said, you're supposed to wear this really long skirt. And I'm getting into an argument. Now, you can argue with angels, but you can't ever win, just FYI. So I'm like, I don't want to wear the skirt because it's long and I have to walk from the parking lot and carry things in, and I'm afraid I'm going to trip. They're like, we got you. Just wear the skirt. So I wear it. I get there and I'm teaching this class. And this one woman at the end of the class comes up to me and says, I love your skirt. I wasn't going to come to your class, but I loved your skirt so much that I decided to come.
We got 30 seconds left before the break, so just hang loose, folks. We are coming back with Carolyn Mcgee, and we're going to talk a little more about this after the break.
And the skirt.
Yes.
This is the Broadcast Team Alpha Show, hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. The one show that takes your doubts of the unknown and spins them into reality. Share your thoughts by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More cutting-edge conversation and exploration of the quantum universe after this.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Immerse yourself in an epic journey through time where ancient mysteries unfold within a story of love and betrayal, as well as a battle of good versus evil in The Emissary Book 1. The reader's favorite gold medal award winner for Visionary Fiction 2019, the action and adventure of The Emissary continues in The Emerald Tablet, Book 2. The 2019's Bronze Medal Award winner, The Emissary and The Emerald Tablet by Tamara Veach and Rennie DeFazio are both available now on Amazon.com. Let your reading adventure begin.
Great.
It's great. I think it's great.
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Great.
Make a note of it.
It's great.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Gee, it's so quiet. Too quiet. Terribly quiet. Awfully quiet.
Do you have an hour to kill? Well, crank up those EVPs, spirit boxes, and walk the haunted halls of the unknown with UK's very own paranormal investigator, David Cook.
You guys ready for this?
The Ghostly Hour, live Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.
And now you're live.
Come hear first-hand accounts of some of the most famous ghost sightings, photos, and videos from around the world. Skeptics, believers, and spirits both good and bad. Welcome. The Ghostly Hour, hosted by David Cook. Live every Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Going live.
Come explore the quantum possibilities. This is Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
To be on the show live, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. Share your thoughts of the show on Twitter at KCOR Radio, #KCOR. Or join the cutting edge conversation live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. Now back to Broadcast Team Alpha with your free thinking hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nast.
Well, hey, everybody, we're back. Yay. So, true to form, you know I have to do a shout out to the chat room. If by chance I don't scroll to the very, very tip top and I miss you, please forgive me. Please forgive me. But I think I've got it tonight. So, a big shout out to the amazing Tina Marie, and Bob Burnell is here, and JTM is here, and Echo is here. Echo got a note from his or her mom, for being late. The dog ate my earbuds. So we might be able to help with the dog eating the earbuds tonight because we have Carolyn here. Let's see, who else is here? So exciting. Summer is here, and Iowa Girl is here, and Haha is here. Rob, hello, Rob. David Cook is here, and Echo is here. And, Nori's here. Crowman is here. Crowman is who I was talking about during the break. His dog came and sat right at his feet as soon as Carolyn came on. And who else is here? Naj is here. And Super Cute is here. And I am so sorry. That is all I can see at this moment. Oh, Madeline Ruby, I see you. Anyway, if I missed your name, please forgive me. If I just adore all of you, and thank you so much for being here. So Carolyn, finish telling us the story, please, about the long skirt that you were fighting with the angels about.
So with this woman, she had a huge experience. I mean, she really shifted her perspective on, connecting in with her intuition, connecting in with the angels. And she never would have had that opportunity if I hadn't worn that skirt that got her attention, that made her come to my class, because she had no interest in the angels.
So that was her intuition, right?
I guess it was the interest, or maybe it was just the divine orchestrating something that would catch her attention enough to get her the information that she needed.
Right. And okay, so that's perfect, because it dovetails into the direction that you received that you tried to rebel against. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wear the long skirt. No,
wear the long skirt.
I don't want to.
I ended up tying it up so that I wouldn't trip. But I looked like a little bit of a crazy bag lady trying to get into the class. But it worked. And over the years I've learned to trust that, if I get this, whatever it is, another example is I'll be going to a potluck, and most of my friends, we just assume and trust that everything's going to be fine. We don't plan on what everybody's going to bring. So I just ask, what do I want? And I immediately will get a craving for something. So it's like a feeling in my body of, oh my goodness, I haven't had this in so long and I want it. And when I bring it, oftentimes it's the only thing somebody can eat there.
Wow.
So it's just following the intuition and following the energy of connecting in with the divine, because, the divine, it's like a radar system. It's always sending out signals.
It makes perfect sense to me, because everything is connected.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And one of the things that my angels tell me all the time is that they send out 1 million messages a day to us.
Wow.
1 million messages a day. So that is how, that's where the acknowledgement and gratitude comes in. If you getting things a certain way, say that you're listening and you recognize that that's a way you get information, thanking them and paying attention, it's like they take the bandwidth and they narrow it down. So they're like, okay, she's getting it through listening. Let's send her the messages that way instead of shotgunning it, so that hopefully she'll get it some way.
That's awesome. And today, actually, it just flew out of my head. I guess I wasn't supposed to tell that. So you said they're listening. So isn't that part of dialing into your intuition, is figuring out how you receive the message most clearly?
Yes, it is. So there's 4 main ways that we receive. We receive through sight, which could be dreams. It could be a vision. You might see shapes. You could see colors. You could see auras. You could see 3D shapes, like numbers or things like that. That's called clairaudience. And then there's clairvoyance. Clairaudience is the hearing piece. Which it's the songs. It could be sounds around you. If you're saying something and a siren goes by, that's an amplification for you to pay attention to what you're saying or what you're thinking at that point in time.
I love that. I get sense. I have gotten the second time I realized that I was getting messages was when I was probably an adolescent, and I was up at a farm in upstate New York, and we were visiting some friends of the family, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I smelled a certain scent of flowers, and I got a sinking feeling in my stomach, and I thought, somebody died. And just as soon as I thought that, the phone at the people's house that we were visiting, because there were no cell phones then, rang. And we learned that my mother's twin sister had indeed passed away. And ever since then, when I get that scent, I know what it is. And it stays true across the board for me. And it's not all flowers. I think it's carnation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think they're much better at scents, because I got the same thing ever so often. I can smell my mom's perfume, and she died 20 years ago, and I can still know when she visited us. I can smell that particular, it's a European, I grew up in Europe, so it's a European scent of a perfume that she used, for pretty much all her life. And ever so often I can feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very powerful. My dad was a smoker for many years, but then stopped probably 20 years before he passed. But when he's around, I often will get first Old Spice, because that was him, and then a cigarette smoke. So those are the ways that I know that he's around me.
Exactly. I get cigarette smoke a lot. I do, and sometimes cigarette smoke is our first friend in my inner circle who left. So it's Lynn, and then I'll get like a pipe smoke, and that's always a mystery for me. I have to really figure it out, So I love the way we receive messages, but I want to talk a little bit about clairaudience, because it's not really hearing, right? I feel like it's the somehow in my being, I receive the essence of words. It's not really hearing, but I want to say, I just heard this.
Yeah, and that's the way our brain translates it, right? So, in the very beginning, when I first started, I had a really hard time with the vision. When I would meditate, it was like a black, and but I would have almost like I would hear somebody as if they were reading aloud. So that's the way I got the messages. And then I realized that it was a translation of the energy that's doing it in a way that I could understand, which was reading. I'm a big reader to start with. So, that energy, and when I would study, which is what I was doing then, I would read out loud to reinforce it, because I would be verbalizing it and hearing it at the same time. So the angels really will teach us in a way that's going to make it easy for us if we allow it.
I love that. And is that part of what you do as an intuitive teacher? Do you teach people how to figure out what their signs are, and to, put them in their little book of signs so that they can go back to it and go, oh yeah, okay, so that's what that was, and it happened again? Or how does your coaching work? Yeah.
Yeah, so I coach, I private coach people, which it's all tailored to the needs of the individual. A lot of times people have been conditioned out of their intuition, or out of their faith, or out of their divinity, and they are so wrapped up in outside validation. So I work a lot of times with people to help them, again, remember who they are and tap into their divinity, so that and how can they process that data that's flowing in. That's our intuition, is the body's resonance, and translating it, and then trusting it. Exactly. Trust is a huge thing, and I do love journaling for things. And for me, journaling isn't big books of prose. It can be for certain people, but because I'm an engineer, I have bullet points. That's my journal. But it allows me to do what I call trust but verify. So, I get something, I write it down. If it's something that I feel confident in making a decision, now I just do it. But when I was starting out, if it wasn't a life or death situation, or it wasn't going to be a huge financial investment, I would follow my intuition. I would write it down, and then I would go back later, just like you were saying, Nori, and prove myself right. There's so much power in that.
Prove yourself right. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like Reagan said, trust but verify.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do that. Sometimes it doesn't take much to verify.
No, it really doesn't. When one of the other intuitive senses is claircognizance, which is that knowingness sense, and it's the hardest one to really get a handle on, because it's like a news flash. It's your gut instinct. When I was buying my home many, many years ago, I had looked at a lot of homes. I was going through a difficult divorce, and I was trying to find the right place for my children and I. And when I walked into the home that I ended up buying, I felt like I came home. Mm-hmm. Like there was this sensation and there was this knowingness of I am here. But I still trust but verify. Mm-hmm. I checked to make sure I was doing a good price, and I checked out the school system, and I actually went and knocked on a couple of doors to see what the neighborhood was like. And so it's not blindly following that instinct or that information that we get. It's using that as the jumping off point to gather more.
Mm. Beautiful. Augie, I know I've been hogging the conversation here, and you have some questions, so
that's okay. I'm enjoying listening to both of you. So this is, and there was one thing that I was just kind of wondering about, and that is the intuition. And very few people really understand how important that intuition is and tune into it, so you can listen to this little voice in the back of your head saying, do it, or, no, that's not for you. And if we listen to that, we can really be much further ahead. But it isn't just us. Animals also are very psychic. Mm-hmm. And how do we go about maybe communicating and actually tuning into animals? Is there anything that we can do to tune into them so we're better able to understand what they need and what they want, and especially when they ask for help?
Yes, that is a great question. So animals, by their very nature, are present. And that's how we can learn from them, is to be grounded, to take those 3 deep breaths before we say anything or before we react, so that we feel the energy more in our physical bodies, and of course your emotional bodies, etc. But with animals, that's who they are. Mm-hmm. Unless they've got, unless they're ill or something like that. But for the most part, the way that they live is they live very connected. And they're very literal. Animal, they are. It's like what you say is what they interpret. There's no filter. There's no judgment. There's no what if in their energy. It's like, you said you were going to be home at 3:00. It's 3:01. Where are you? It's really it's a black, or dinner's at 5:00 and I don't hear the can opener, right? Yes. Yeah. And that's why, and they sense the phases of the energy, where the sun is in the sky. So they're not really, it's not 5:00. It's just they can sense the time going by on the earth. And what else did I want to say? Yeah. Oh, telepathy. That's what the other thing is that I wanted to mention with animals. So all sentient beings communicate using telepathy, and telepathy is the transference of pictures, thoughts, and words. Huh. So every time we speak, we are mentally sending an image that goes along with those words.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I communicate with animals, is I have learned to translate and open myself up so I see the images as they speak. It's almost like a little bubble. I see an image, and then I've learned how to translate it so I know what they're trying to communicate with me. And you have to be very literal. You want to be. It's not. What's a good example? Okay, so I was working with an animal communication client. And I always try and give them something like around the personality so that they know that I'm connecting in with their animal versus a different animal. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I said is, oh my goodness, this dog is so obsessed with, I said, a red ball. Uh-huh. This red ball, it's like the most favorite thing in the world and so obsessed. And she's like, doesn't play with balls, doesn't have a red ball. I'm like, okay, just trust me that something's going to come out at some point in time, okay? And then went on and said a whole lot of other things. And she had a specific problem that we were able to work our way through. Well, the next morning I wake up to an email. She's like, "Oh my God, the red laser pointer. He's obsessed."
I love that. Oh,
so it was, yeah. And, that's how they're so literal. Like, this dog was showing me this red dot, and my brain translated it into a red ball instead of, I am seeing this red circle.
Right.
You speak of telepathy. I tell you, there is about a 1.5-minute story here that really fits in with that, because I read this in a European newspaper years and years and years ago. And it was back in the 1920s. There was a British expedition that went to Africa into the kind of the deepest jungle, and they found a tribe in there that had never seen white folks before. And they thought it was amazing. And the people in the expedition, they spent some time with them, and they started wondering, why are you guys, don't you talk to each other? And the answer they got was, well, we do, we just don't use words. We transmit our thoughts to each other, and we understand. So what they came away with as this tribe was telepathic. They didn't need words. And then they spent actually about a month or more with this expedition that was there. And when they came back later, they had taught them that it was important to speak. So they had forgotten they were now speaking. They'd basically forgotten how to use their telepathic ability.
Yeah.
So telepathic communication is absolutely real.
Oh, it's definitely real. I thought you were going to go this route with your story. There was Dr. Rupert Sheldrake did a study, I don't even remember how many years ago, in London, where they put in small cameras, and it was at say 5:00, the owners came in, and they did it to a number of different people, and all the dogs would run to the door, and they'd be sitting at the door waiting for the people to come in. Mm-hmm. So then they had the people leave their office and go to the pub, or leave their office and go grocery shopping, or take the train home so they get home at a different time. Mm-hmm. And what they found was that the dogs would kind of stir when the person was leaving, but they didn't get up to go to the door until the person was actually coming home. And they did this, having them come home at 10 a.m., having them come home at 2, having them come home at 8 p.m. So it was all different times. So there was this communication telepathically of, I am coming home versus I am going someplace else, that the dogs could see, and they were 100% accurate with waiting at the door when the person came home.
Yeah, I heard about that story. That was fantastic.
I love that. Carolyn, there's a question in the chat room. I just want to tell you, oh no, I better go to the question. Z said, so if we were in touch with reincarnates, do we still communicate? And if someone we were in touch with reincarnates, do we still communicate in the same way? For me, it was a combination of claircognizance, clairaudience, and outright getting pushed around physically. That's interesting.
That is fascinating, and I'm going to translate what I'm hearing in the question and answer it. I think the energy that we have with people, it transcends time.
Yeah.
So if you had a relationship with somebody where talking was a big part of it, then you probably will continue to hear them. If it was an energy of sometimes they had to poke at you in order to get your attention, then they will do that now. Now you can get them to stop that by paying attention and acknowledging. Let's go back to the beginning, acknowledging. Okay, I hear you. You don't need to physically do anything. A lot of times spirits will do things like flicker lights to get your attention because they've been trying to speak to you or to show themselves, but you're not listening. So they move to the next level to get your attention.
We have 4 minutes to the break, Carolyn. Please tell everybody how they can reach you. Just amazing.
Thank you. So my website is carolynmcgee.com. And that is really, there's a contact form on there. It's a real easy way for you to connect with me. I also have a free gift. It's a 3-part gift to help you connect in deeper with your intuition. There's a meditation, a checklist on what things to do daily to connect in with your intuition, and a 17-prompt journaling workbook to help you work your way through. Everybody's got blocks. It doesn't matter. So this just kind of helps you open up to what might be tripping you up a little bit.
Nice. Really, really nice. So we've got about 3 minutes. So let me tell you this crazy story. I began with animals by going out and intentionally wanting to connect with them. So when a bird would come by, I would just think, I love you. I love you. This way, I didn't know what else to do, and I knew that they would not be afraid of me then. So that all worked. And years later, I had a 20-year-old cat that I adored, and she wasn't doing well. And I said, Angel, her name was Angel, just let me know, girlie. Let me know when you need to go. And I was coming home from work, and I usually stop by a couple of stores on the way home, but there was a bird that was right in front of my window, and he fashioned his wings like an arrow, and I knew I had to follow it. So instead of stopping at the stores, I went straight home, and I found her in distress. That bird signaled to me that I needed to go home and take care of Angel.
Yeah. Yep. And they will communicate and connect, and they're so, all animals are just, they're very supportive and loving.
Well, so are you. I just adore you. I am so grateful that you joined us tonight, and we're going to have you back, I hope. Yeah, yes. If you say yes. Awesome.
Absolutely. Yes, this was so fun. Thank you both.
You're so welcome.
This was so good.
So you can reach Carolyn at carolynmcgee.com. And I know Tina has the beautiful links all set up so people from KCOR, people listening on KCOR can find you. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Carolyn.
Welcome. This was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you to all of the people in the chat room, all of the people listening, even our haters, because let's face it, if you're here listening and you might be one of my haters or Augie's haters, you love us because you're here.
Yeah, I didn't know we had any.
There might be one or two somewhere on the other side of the moon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Thank you, Tina. Thanks,
Thank
Augie.
you very much for being with us. Until next week, be good to each other.
You've been listening to Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
Hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The balance of power is shifting to a new paradigm. Will you be ready? For more information on Broadcast Team Alpha, as well as the hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nost, please visit their website at broadcastteamalpha.com. Until next week, remember to keep those minds open while always exploring the endless quantum possibilities.
Broadcast Team Alpha. Over and out.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.